Stu and Drew are cleaning Drew's boat, and Chuckie tells Tommy he wishes they had a boat themselves. Tommy makes himself one out of a wooden garden stake and a peas label for the sail. He tells Chuckie that all they need now is a captain. Meanwhile, Angelica is getting her doll Cynthia ready to get married. She still needs a husband. Angelica looks through binoculars for one. She rejects Drew and Stu as too old for, and Tommy and Chuckie as too young. She sees Spike and decides that he'll do. Spike doesn't cooperate, however, and runs off during the ceremony. Angelica tells him to go away if he doesn't want to play wedding and pushes him through a loose board in the fence. She then calls him a stinky old dog and tells him not to come back. Tommy and Chuckie come across Cynthia lying on the ground, having been knocked down when Spike ran off. Tommy says they found their captain. Chuckie is concerned about taking Angelica's doll, but Tommy says they only need Cynthia for a little bit. Cynthia ends up on the boat, and Tommy and Chuckie watch enthusiastically as she sails down the driveway on the water coming from the house that Stu and Drew are using to wash the real boat. However, Cynthia's boat keeps going. It goes out through the bars of the front gate, onto the street, and down into the sewer. Angelica returns to the scene of the wedding and notices with a scream that Cynthia is gone. She starts crying very loudly. Her wailing alerts her dad and uncle, who both come running. Drew tells her to calm down, but Angelica keeps crying and says that Cynthia is gone. Stu asks his niece if she looked everywhere, and she says yes. She's not in the beauty fort or under it. Cynthia isn't anywhere. In this moment, it cuts to Cynthia is being taken to the end of a pipe and going down an embankment, where she gets separated from her boat and floats away, getting discolored in the process. Drew tells Angelica he can get her a new Cynthia doll. This puts Angelica into a state of minor shock. As Tommy and Chuckie come up to Angelica in an attempt to explain what happened to her doll, Angelica exclaims as a tear falls from her eye that Cynthia is her best friend, and she can't get another one. Cynthia goes through another pipe and ends up going down a waterfall and into the dirty waters of the sewage treatment plant. Meanwhile, Spike is hanging around some trash cans. He goes into one which is lying on its side just as the garbage truck arrives. Spike's trash can gets picked up and he is dumped into the back of the garbage truck along with the contents of the can. The truck is then pulled away with Spike in the back with all the garbage. Angelica runs around the backyard screaming for Cynthia. Tommy tells Chuckie they need to tell Angelica about what happened with the boat, but Chuckie is worried this will make her mad. Tommy says they made a mistake and they have to own up to it. Chuckie reluctantly goes along with this. Cynthia is again seen out of her voyage, getting dyed various colors from liquids pouring out of pipes, blue, yellow, and green. Tommy and Chuckie approach Angelica, who's tossing things aside in her search for her doll. Tommy says he has something to tell her about Cynthia. Angelica asks him if he knows where Cynthia is and adds that if she finds out who took Cynthia, she'll mash him and smash him into a million zillion blobs of applesauce. After hearing this, Tommy decides to not tell Angelica for now. Cynthia gets into a catfish's mouth, but the catfish spits her out without swallowing her, as she tasted bad. Cynthia floats under a bridge upside down, while the garbage truck with Spike inside drives over it. Angelica asks Tommy and Chuckie, "So you don't see Cynthia at all?" Chuckie replies that they did see her, but not for a long time. Tommy adds that they can help Angelica look for Cynthia. He suggests that Cynthia might be by the bushes, but instead of going to look herself, Angelica tells the boys to start looking. At the bushes, Chuckie asks Tommy why they're there, since they know the doll won't be found there. Tommy again suggests they tell Angelica the truth, but Chuckie is afraid of becoming applesauce. Angelica appears behind them and sees that Cynthia's not there, so she laments that her doll is gone forever. Angelica walks up to where her dad and uncle are washing the boat and grabs a cloth from a bucket. She puts it over her head like a mourning cap. She picks some flowers from the garden and spreads them around the last piece. She saw Cynthia, saying, "Cynthia, we barely knew ye." Chuckie doesn't understand what Angelica's doing and tells Tommy that he thinks she has gone off her rocket. Tommy seems to agree. Angelica decides to hold a funeral for her doll. She gives Tommy and Chuckie a flower each, telling them to stand where they are and look sad. Angelica starts the service, saying that they are gathered to remember Cynthia, their bestest friend in the world. She says that no one knows where Cynthia has gone exactly, whether she has springtime fashion line or matching accessories, but it can at least be known that she has gone to a better place. That particular place, it turns out, is the city dump scenic overlook, where Cynthia falls out of a pipe with a piece of gunk in her hair and floats along the water, along with tin cans and other refuse. This is timed with the arrival of the garbage truck, which dumps out its contents, including Spike. He's now all dirty and smelly. He sniffs the air and finds some old rotting food in the water. Right beside the food is Cynthia. Spike pauses to remember that Cynthia belongs to Angelica. Then remembers Angelica getting mad at him and pushing him away. He decides to leave the doll and begins to walk away. Just then, however, he pictures Tommy being friendly to him and happy, and he decides to bring Cynthia back after all. At the funeral, Angelica is reminiscing about the time she got Cynthia for her 3rd birthday. She was an extra special present, and Angelica knew then that her life would never be the same. Chuckie starts to cry, and Tommy does too, as the two of them bawl together. Angelica angrily tells them, "Not yet," saying she hasn't finished. Chuckie and Tommy both tearfully admit that they're the ones who lost Cynthia, and how they only wanted her for a short time to be the captain of their boat. They explain how the water went so fast and Cynthia ended up going into the road and down a hole. They both shout that they're sorry, and they grab onto Angelica's dress, sobbing. The irate Angelica pushes them down, and as they back up toward the fence, she closes on them, angrily exclaiming to the rotten little babies that they're the ones who lost her doll. Just in the nick of time, Spike comes running in through the loose fence board with Cynthia in his mouth. Angelica's ecstatic to see her doll is alive, and Tommy and Chuckie are both relieved they didn't have to face Angelica's wrath. Angelica calls Spike a wonderful, beautiful dog and attempts to hug him, but he runs off. Angelica then notices how dirty and stinky Cynthia is and asks her where she's been. Tommy and Chuckie hug Spike, but he is taken away by Stu to receive a bath. Angelica is concerned about the dog germs on Cynthia and gives the doll a dip in her hot tub. She sadly tells Cynthia she won't be able to do a thing with her hair. Stu washes Spike with the hose and argues with Drew, who told him he missed his spot. Tommy, Phil, and Lil are bored until Chuckie, who just came over, talks about his new friend Barney, a neat kid who is really smart and really brave. Chuckie tells him that both of them went through some neat stuff together, like the recent garage encounter. When asked if he was afraid, he answers that he's not, as long as Barney's around. He also said that Barney looks kind of like him, lives far away in a castle, and neither he nor his parents are allowed to cross the street, only coming to the Finster's house. Meanwhile, Chaz is trying to relabel his self-help videos. Dee Dee offers him red labels. Chaz thanks her anyway, but he says he could only use brown ones to match his tapes. Dee Dee asks Chaz to take care of the kids while she's running at the Save Grunion 10-kilometer marathon tomorrow. This delights the kids, who say they're going to meet Barney. The next day at Chuckie's, the 2-year-old Rugrat takes his friends to the closet and shows them his dad's fish. Chaz finds the babies and notices his fish, explaining to Chuckie that Chuckie's mom didn't like it much, but now he can finally put it back up on the wall. The other babies ask where Barney is. Chuckie fibs, saying that Barney was sent to prison for eating his broccoli. He also says that he'll go to the park after they bail Barney out tomorrow. In the car, Tommy, Phil, and Lil really want to meet Barney. Tommy, remembering how Chuckie said Barney was going to go to the park tomorrow, gets an idea. After Dee Dee comes back from the race with cramping feet, she and Betty pick the other kids up. The next day, Tommy convinces Dee Dee to take him to the park, presenting his shovel and pail and crying, knowing that she has too much work to do. Dee Dee reluctantly takes Tommy to the park. While there, Tommy overhears Chuckie talking to someone. Chuckie says he's talking to Barney, whom Tommy can't see because he's invisible and is shy. Dee Dee picks Tommy up, telling him that they have a new game to play, getting those reports downtown before Mommy gets in trouble. Back at Tommy's, little 1-year-old tells Phil and Lil about Barney. As the Finsters come over, Chaz suggests that he could use red labels for his nature documentaries while dropping Chuckie off into the playpen. Tommy thinks that Chuckie brought Barney over too. Asked if Barney has any games to play, Chuckie offers games of What's Under the Rug and basketball. Why do you think the others need practice? Back at the playpen to be safe and out of trouble, Chuckie says that Barney's tired, but the others ask him to do something fun. Chuckie thinks that Barney and the others should go on the roof. Tommy and the others think it's a great idea. In Grandpa Lou's room, Chuckie tries to talk the others out of going up on the roof, finally admitting that Barney's just made up. They realize that it was Chuckie who decided to go to the closet and play What's Under the Rug, that he himself has really good ideas for games. Back at the playpen, Phil suggests that Chuckie bring Barney back so they can go up to the moon, but Chuckie says that once someone is made up, it's hard to get them to come over anymore. Chaz picks up Chuckie with a sheet of red labels in hand, then puts Chuckie on the welcome mat, telling him to wait here as he calls to Dee Dee that his red labels are printed off center. While at the mat, Chuckie apologizes to Barney for telling the others that fib about his being made up. He reassures Barney that they'll always be friends.